Rajkumar sir, can we start?
Yes, madam.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. On this penultimate day of faculty development program, I welcome Dr. Rajkumar, Associate Professor of Mathematics from Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science. His area of interest is algebra, operation research, fuzzy theory, statistics, and differential equation. For his research, he has received Best Research Paper Award in 2013 in Rome and Bhutan. Also, he has received Best Scientist Award in 2019 given by IMRF Goa and Distinguished Scientist Award by Indo-Asian Alan Turing, United Nations. He has published 50 research articles in international journals and 51 Scopus indexed research articles. Under his guidance, 5 candidates have completed their research and 11 are pursuing. Once again, I welcome you, sir, for this session. Also, I welcome all the participants for this session. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
So you can start the session now.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see your screen, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Screen is visible.
So I'm Dr. Rajkumar, uh, Associate Professor from the Department of Mathematics from the Institute of Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science. Today, I'm going to present the topic called research methods. So I think everyone is doing research in various fields, especially in mathematics. In some other fields also, we are doing your research area. But we have to follow some rules and regulations and doing research. There are some guidance is given in research methodology. So my topic is on research methods. Ma'am, slide is not moving, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, sir. Slide is not moving. Sir, who is having the control actually?
I am not having, ma'am.
Um,
Can I send the slide to you, ma'am? It's not moving
yes,
here.
sir. Sir, you have that. You can change the slide, sir, because you only having that PPT, so that
Wait, ma'am.
change the slide, sir.
Now you see, ma'am? Are you able to see the slides now? Hello?
Sir, next slide. First slide is open.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it's moving. Second slide is moving.
Okay. I think it's a. Are you able to see the slide, ma'am? Right? Hello? Hello?
It's visible, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So, what is research? What do you mean it? Mean there are several ways of obtaining answers to a professional question. These methods range from the fairly informal, based upon clinical impressions, to the strictly scientific, adhering to the conventional expectation of scientific procedure. Research is one of the ways to find answer to your questions. When you say that you are undertaking a research study to find out answers to a question, you are implying that the process being applied. It's being undertaken with a framework of set of philosophies, uses procedures, methods, and techniques that have been tested for their validity and reliability. It is designed to be unbiased and objective. If you are researching the opinion of the students, if you are a researcher, if you are researching the opinion of students in your college, you should survey a sample of 100 students. In statistics, sampling allows you to test a hypothesis about the characteristic of a population. This is called an example for research. What do you mean by research methodology? Collection of a particular designs regarding what data you will collect, from whom, how you will analyze it, how you will collect it. That is called research methodology. In common, once you define a research as a scientific and systematic research for pertinent information on specific topic. It is refining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses or suggested solutions, collecting organization and evaluating data, making deduction and researching conclusion, and at last carefully testing the conclusion to determine whether they fit the formulating hypothesis. What are the objectives of research? There are some objectives are there. Develops better insight into topic, provides systematic structure, enhance the research quality, derive better solutions, includes logical and systematic thinking. These are the objectives of research. There are some motivation is there in your research. There are some motivations. Desire to get a research degree along with the conclusional benefits. Desire to face the challenges in solving the unproblem solved problems. That is, concern over practical problems in such research. Desire to get intellectual joy of doing some creative work. Desire to be service to society. Desire to get respectability. These are the motivation for you to doing research in your career. Some techniques are involved when you are defining a problem. There are some techniques. First step, statement of the problem in a general way. We have to state your problem in a general way. What is the statement? What you are going to prove? What is your problem? That one you have to define first. Next, you have to understand the nature of the problem. Then you have to understand what is the problem. That is the main thing. First, you have to write a statement and you have to understand that problem. Next, third point, surveying the available literature. So the important point is you have to use so many literature review to know about the problem, the nature of the problem, whether it is already developed by anybody or it's a new one. There are some papers are available in the net, so you have to download it and you have to use it. So available literature is very important for doing your research work. Number four, developing the ideas to discussions. After that literature review, you have to develop the ideas to discussions with your supervisors, and you have to discuss that point, what you have to do in future, what is the research gap is there, how to develop the research gap in your area. This all you have to discuss with your supervisor and some other people. Replacing the research problem into working proposition. The final point is, after the research problem, after finding that developing the ideas, You have to praise the problem into working proposition. You have to develop the, again, morely you have to develop the research area. So this is a graphical demonstration of research process. First, we have to define research problem. First, you have to define it. Then, initially, you have to go for literature review. That is the second step in your research process. Third one, setting and fixing hypothesis. You have to set it and fix the hypothesis. Next, you have to design it, research design. After the research design, you have to collect the data. You have to collect the data. After collecting the data, you have to analyze the collected data. That is very important. We have to collect the data first. After collecting the data, we have to analyze the data, the collected data. Finally, interpreting and report finding. From the collection of data, you have to interpret the entire data and you have to give the reporting findings. This is a general demonstration of a research process. This is the research process. First, you have to define a problem. Second, you have to use the literature review, initial process. Third step, setting and fixing hypothesis. That is material and methods. You have to fix your methods and materials. Finally, you have to research design. You have to research the design, what you are going to do in entire work. And collection of data. You have to collect the data. The data must be collection of data to be analyzed. Then finally, we have to interpretation and report finding. This is a graphical demonstration of a research process. What is a research problem? Research problem in general refers to some difficulty which a researcher experiences in construct of either a theoretical or practical situation wants to obtain a solution for the same. There must be an individual or group which have some difficulty or the problem. There must be some objectives to be attained. If one wants nothing, no cannot have a problem. There must be alternative means of course of action. For obtaining the objectives one wishes to attain, this means that must be at least two means available to researcher, or he has no choice of means, he cannot have a problem. There must be some environmental to which difficulty pertains. What is a research paper? A well-written document of 10 to 30 pages reporting a theoretical or experimental research with a focus on answering a research question against the backdrop of literature review, using methods and materials, stating the result as well as discussing the significance and providing a conclusion and scope for future research as well as appropriate and current reference. This is a research paper. Written document of 30 pages. See whether it is a theoretical or experimental. It's a focus of answering a research question against the background of literature review. You see, when you are reading the literature review, that will be always answered by focus on answering the research question. That is very important. By using material and methods and significance and conclusion and future for the direction as well as current references you have to use in a research paper. Structure of a research article. What is a structure? First, before going to the research paper, there is a structure. First, you have to think. Before doing any paper, the step one, you have to think. Second, step two, you have to find. Step three, you have to read. And step four is a brainstorm. And step five is an abstract. Before writing the abstract, there is a four step must be involved within you. You have to think about that work. You have to find what you are going to do. And you have to read the literature review completely. And finally, you have to make it brainstorm. And finally, you have to write the abstract. After writing the abstract, the step 6, you have to write the introduction. Introduction, you have to write by using literature review papers from various articles. You have to read that article and you have to write the introduction. And step 7, the body of the paper, the methods and conclusions, the methods and materials of the paper. Step 8, conclusion. Step 9, you have to spell and you have to check the spelling and grammar of the entire paper. Step 5, step 10, stay constant. Step 11, you have to check the plagiarism and you have to write the title, header, and footer. These are the 11 steps you have to use structure of a research article. This is the 11th step you have to follow when you are writing a new research article. So in this research article, the most important thing is You have to check the plagiarism after writing the article. It is very important. Plagiarism is very, very important to present the article in a research journal. That is very important. You have to check it. Then another important thing in a research area is spelling and grammar. You have to spell it. You have to see each and every spelling, and you have to check the grammar in each and every word what you written in the research article. These are the very important thing in your research article. You will present the paper in the journal. So this is the steps involved for writing a research article. How to review the literature? There are 4 steps involved in conducting a literature review. The first one, searching for the existing literature in your area of study. First, for example, if you are going to study about fuzzy or nutroscopic or differential equation or algebra or topology, so first you have to search the literature review in your area of study. First we have to find the article related to our area, related area. Download the articles in your related area. Second, reviewing the selected literature. You have to review the selected literature. You have to study the entire paper and you have to find out what is the research gap of the entire paper in literature review. Number 3, developing a theoretical framework. Step number 4, developing a conceptual framework. So these are the how to review the literature. This is the basic points to review the literature. Next, searching a bibliography. There are sources that can use to prepare a bibliography. Books. The first one is book. The best way to search for a book is to look at your library categories. If you are not sure, ask your librarian to help you find out the best subject or for your area. This can save a lot of time. So first, books. Second, journals. You need to go through the journals related to your research in a similar manner. Journals provide you with the most up-to-date information, even though there is often a gap of 2 or 3 years between the completion of a research project and a publication in a journal. The first one is books, second one is journal. Third one, if you feel that a particular article of interest to you, read it first. If you think you are likely to use it on your financial resources, either photocopy it or prepare a summary and record it reference for later use. Number 3, internet. In almost every academic discipline and professional field, the internet become an important tool finding published literature. So on internet search, you can identify published material in book, journal, other sources with impulse case and speed. So these are the 3 steps used for searching a bibliography. The first one is books, second one is journal, and third one is internet. Then quality and quantity research. One of the main difference between quantity and quality research studies in area of variable. In quantity research, as it involves studying specifications, beliefs, or feeling. We do not make any attempt to establish uniformity in them across response and hence measurements and variables do not carry much significance. And another in quantitative study, as the emphasis is on exploring commonalities in the study population, measurements and variable play an important role. The data consists of quantitative variables like price, income, sales, etc. and quality variables like knowledge, perform, character, etc. The quality information must be converted into numerical form for further analysis. This is possible through measurement and scaling techniques. A common feature of survey-based research to have response, feeling, attitude, opinion, etc. in some measurable form. In quantitative variable like price, income, sales, qualitative variable like knowledge, perform, character. The qualitative information you can convert into the numerical form for further analysis by using measurement and scaling techniques. So there are some errors also, it will be there in your research area. The first error is population specification. Second error is sampling and sample frame errors. Selection, that is sometimes when you're selecting the area, there will be an error. Non-responsive is another error. And measuring the scale by using the statistical tool, sometimes there will be error in your research. These are the some errors. It will be happen in your research area. And methods of analyzing in research. Exploratory data analysis, which aims to discover patterns and relationship in the data. Descriptive data analysis, which summarize the main feature of the data. Causal data analysis, which tests the cause and effect of variables. Predictive data analysis, which forecasts further outcome based on the data. So these are the methods of analysis in research. Exploratory data analysis, it helps to discover patterns and relationship in the data. That is defined as EDA. Relationship, what is the domain, what is the range? The range and domain will be interlinked. That is the first exploratory data analysis says that. Descriptive data analysis, which summarize the main feature of the data. So, in our descriptive data analysis, which summarize what is your main feature in that particular area. That is called descriptive data analysis. Causal data analysis is nothing but test the cause and effect of variable. We are going to test the cause and effect of the variable. Finally, forecast future outcome based on the study. That is a predictive data analysis. So we have to forecast the future outcome based on the data. These are the methods of analysis in research. Inferential data analysis, which draws conclusion from a sample to a population. Decision trees, which use a branching structure to represent choice and outcomes. Mechanistic data analysis, which model the underlying mechanism of the data. So these are the steps which is involved methods of analyzing of research. What is the role of statistics in research methodology? Statistical methods are essentially for scientific research. Statistical methods dominate the scientific research as they include planning, designing, collecting data, analyzing, drawing meaningful interpretation, and reporting of such findings. So statistics is one of the main tools to analyze our research. It is one of the main tools. For what kind of purposes? For planning. When you are planning, when you are designing, and you are collecting data. The statistics tool is used to derive a conclusion. And it is used to for analyzing, and it is used to for interpretation, and it is used for research finding, reports of research finding. The final conclusion we can derive it by using the statistics in our research methodology. So statistics is one of the main essential important tools for research purpose. There are 5 steps of hypothesis testing. There are hypothesis and analysis. Fourth one is hypothesis analysis. There are 5 steps. There are some limitation of hypothesis there and important of non-parametric test is there. 5 steps. Step 1. Identifying the claim and designing null and alternative hypothesis. We have to first identify the claim and design it. Second, identify the tail of the test and notifying the significant level is given. Step 3, identifying the type of statistical test is to be identified and to compute test statistics. Step number 4, write decision. Step number 5, drawing conclusion. These are the 5 steps of hypothesis testing. So when you are after collecting the data, you have to use the hypothesis testing. You have to use the hypothesis testing to derive the conclusion. So this is the 5 steps involved. First, you have to find the hypothesis. Second, you have to identify the tail of the test. And third, you have to use the types of statistical tests. And fourth one, write the decision what you got from after using the hypothesis testing. And step number 5, draw the conclusions what you got after using the hypothesis testing. So these are the 5 steps involved of hypothesis testing. There are some limitations there in hypothesis testing in research. Hypothesis testing can be regarded approach that may not always capture all relevant variable in a given scenario. It can lead to incorrect or incomplete conclusion about the underlying phenomena being studied. Moreover, hypothesis testing can be limited by the assumptions made out outset of the study. This is a very important thing, limitation of hypothesis. So it always all relevant variable in given scenario. It is not able to get, not always capture all relevant variable. It is not possible. This can be lead to incomplete conclusions underlying in some studies. So this is the limitation of hypothesis testing in research. So importance of non-parametric testing. It makes fewer assumptions about the data. It is useful in analyzing data that are inherently in ranking or categories. It may be the one-way alternative when sample size are very small, unless the population distribution given exactly. It has similar computations and interpretation than parametric tests. This is the importance of non-parametric tests. So when you are using when you are using the hypothesis testing, there are 5 methods. Just know I given that 5 methods. There is some limitation is there. The limitation says it is not all capture all relevant variable in given scenario. It is not possible. Like that, we have another important test is non-parametric test. So it makes fewer assumptions about the data. It is useful in analyzing data in ranking the category. It is used for small case if the population distribution is given exactly. It is similarly computations and interpretation, then parametric test. Next is a report report preparation. For preparing a report, it's simple synopsis. First one is synopsis. So, how to write the synopsis? Report preparation. There are 3 categories. First one is synopsis and meaning and significance of report and research. The third one is precaution for writing research reports. These are 3 categories it lies on report preparation. First one is synopsis. A synopsis is a brief summary of the major points on object, subject, or written work. It is a brief summary of the major point. You have to only add the major points in your synopsis area. Synopsis only is a major point. When you are writing the synopsis for 14 to 15 pages or 14 to 16 pages, that brief summary only about the important points. What are the points? First is title page. The first one is structure will be given as a title page. Second one is a content page. Third one is an introduction and background. Next, literature review. The next one is objectives. The next one is methods and materials. And the next one is experiment and result. And conclusion and reference. This is the structure of synopsis. When you are writing a synopsis, this is a structure you have to follow. First, title page. Second, content page. Third is an introduction, then background of the study. And fourth is literature review. You have to write about the literature review. What for example, if you are doing mathematics related work, means you have to write a literature review. What are the papers you studied for the current scenario? You have to write from the last 2024 to you have to go 23, 22, 21, like that you have to go. You have to write the first the new article, what is nowadays it is available in the literature review. Then you have to go 23, 22, 21, like that. Next, objectives. What are the objectives? What you proved? That is called objective. You have to write the objectives. What are the findings? What you find out in your research area? That one you have to write. Then methods and materials. What are the methods you use? What are the algorithm used? What are the definitions are used? What are the data are used? That one you have to write in the place called material and methods. And finally, what you derived, what you solved, the results you got, what are the experiments and results, what you derived, that one you have to write in that sector after the material methods. After that, you have to write the conclusions. What are the objectives you wrote? That all the objectives you have to write the experiment and results. At the same time, you write the conclusions. And finally, references. What are the references you searched for doing that work? All the references you have to paste it there. The total, the picture will be 14 to 16 pages. That is the background of a synopsis. So measurement and scaling. The next one is measurement and scaling. Measurement. Measurement is a process of observing and recording the observation that are collected as part of research. The recording of the observation may be in terms of numbers or other symbols to characteristic of objects according to certain prescribed rules. The response, characteristics, or feelings, attitudes, opinion, etc. The most accepted of measurement is the significance of rules for assigning number to characters. The rules for assigning numbers should be standardized and applied uniformly. This must not change over time or objects. Scaling. Scaling is an assignment of numbers to objects or systematics according to a rule. In scaling, the objects are test statements, usually statements of attitude, opinion, or feeling. This is called scaling. So, what are the issues in attitude measurement? What to be measured? Who to be measured? The choices available in data collection techniques. So, this is a very important thing in the research area. What to be measured? Who to be measured? The choice is only available in data collection techniques. Then only we can know what you have to be collected and who to be measured, what you have to be measured. So important accept is data collection techniques. Choice available only in data collection techniques. So there are four types of scale, of measurement scale. There are four types. Typically, four level of measurement scales or methods of assigning numbers. First is nominal scale. Second one is ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. There are four scales: nominal scale, ordinary scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. This is the four level of measurement scales. What is nominal scale? The nominal scale is the crudest among all measurement scales, but also the simplest scale. The nominal scale does not express any values or relationship between variables. The nominal scale is often referred to as a categorical scale. The assigned numbers have no arithmetic properties and act only as labels. The only statistical operation that cannot be performed on nominal scale is a frequency count. We cannot determine an average expert mode. For example, labeling men as 1 and women as 2, which is the most common way of labeling gender for data recording purpose, does not mean women are twice something or other than men, nor it suggests that men are somehow better than women. So this is an important example. Labeling men as 1 and women as 2. So way of labeling gender is a data recording purpose. We see it does not mean that women are twice something or other than men, nor it suggests that men are somehow better than women. So it is a frequency count. We cannot determine an average expert mode. We cannot able to determine an average. We can able to find a frequency count. So this is a very important scale we are using in research methods. Next one is ordinal scale. Ordinal scale involves the ranking of items along the continuum of the characteristic being scale. In this scale, the items are classified according to whether they have more or less of a characteristic. The main characteristic of ordinary scale is that The categories have a logical or ordered relationship. This type of scale permits the measurement of degree of difference, that is, more or less, but not specific amount of difference, how much more or less. The scale is very common in marketing, satisfaction, and the attitudinal research. Using ordinary scale data, we can perform statistical analysis like median, mode, but not mean. We can able to perform statistical analysis like median, mean, but not mode. For example, a fast food home delivery shop may wish to ask its customers, how would you rate the service of your staff? What is the rating you are given for our staff? Excellent, very good, good, poor, and worst. So this scale is very common in marketing and stratification of attitudinal research. So we can able to find the median or more, but not able to find the median of the entire structure. So that's why I given an example. Their customer, the service, you can able to answer any one excellent. You can say excellent. We can say poor. You can say very good. Maybe you can say good. So we can only able to find the median or mode. We cannot able to find that rank. We cannot able to find the mean of the entire structure. So this is called ordinal scale. Next one is interval scale. Interval scale is a scale in which the numbers are used to rank attributes such that numerically equal distance on the scale represent equal distance in the characteristic being measured. Interval scale contains all the information of an ordinary scale, but it also wants allow to compare the difference and distance between attributes. Interval scale may be either in numeric or systematic formats. The interval scale allows the calculation of averages like mean, median, mode, and depression like range and standard deviation. For example, the difference between 1 and 2 is equal to the difference between 3 and 4. Further, the difference between 2 and 4 is twice the difference between 1 and 2. That not means that measuring temperature in an example of interval scale, but we cannot say 40 degrees Celsius is twice as hot as 20 degrees Celsius. We can't say that. 40 degrees is twice as hot as 20 degrees Celsius. It is not like that. So this is one of the good example. We can say the difference 1 and 2 are equal to the difference between 3 and 4. Yes. The difference between 2 and 4 is twice the difference between 1 and 2. That also you can able to say. But in measuring temperature in the example of interval scale, but we cannot say 40 degree is equal to 20 degree. So this is one of the examples for interval scale. Next one is ratio scale. Ratio scale is the highest level of measurement scale. This has the properties of an interval scale together with a fixed absolute 0 point. The absolute 0 point allows us to construct a meaningful ratio. Ratio scale permit the researcher to compare both difference in scores and relative magnitude of scores. Examples of ratio scale include weights, length, and time. What are the examples? Weight, length, and time. For example, the number of customers of a bank ATM in last 3 months is a ratio scale. This is because we can compare this with the previous 3 months. So, the number of customers bank ATM is last 3 months is a ratio scale. Why? You can compare this with the previous 3 months. We can able to compare the previous 3 months. The previous month, 3 months, or how many members are there in the ATM customers or the bank ATM. We can compare that in the previous 3 months also. This is called given example for ratio scale. It all depends on weight, time, and length. In data collection, we have two types of data collection. Because the data collection is a very, very important thing for doing our research. Methods of data collection. While deciding about the method of data collection it is used for the study, the researcher should keep in mind two steps of data. There are two steps of data for our research area. The first one is primary data, second one is secondary data. This is the important data collection is one of the important things of our research. After the data collection only, we can able to interpret and analyze and we can write the conclusion. So methods of data collection is one of the important tools for doing our research methods. So first one is called primary method. Second one is called secondary method. The primary method are those which are collected fresh and for the first time and thus happen to be original in character for the primary data. So in some research area, some data will be collected. For example, a person is doing research in terms of cancer or in terms of some diseases. What we will do? We will go to the hospital, we will meet the doctors, and we will meet the patients. We will have the questionnaires with us, and we have some recorded videos with us. We can go directly to the current scenario. We can ask the questions to them. We can get the answers from them, and we can talk to them. We can take the videos and we can record it. What are the answers they are telling to us? So these are called primary data. Somewhere you are going somewhere, some colleges or some hospitals like that. That is all we are going for. Directly we are going for there and we are collecting the data. That is all refers to the primary data. Secondary data. On the other hand, it is defined as secondary data. And those which have already been collected by someone else and which have already been passed through the statistical process. So already data is collected by someone. That data is already used by a method and it is interpreted and analyzed and they given a conclusion in the research paper. You can take that research paper as a secondary data for your work. For example, someone is using a research problem by using fuzzy relational mapping. For example, I'm talking about an example. Using fuzzy relational area, someone is taken a data which is analyzed by fuzzy relation mapping. The data about teacher and the student, the domain and the connection, the relationship between the teacher and student to perform in the studies. What are the attributes of students? What are the attributes of teachers? It helps the students to score good marks. This is an example. So that is already published by using fuzzy relation mapping by any one of the person. The same paper you can take it that one used as a secondary data. You can utilize a new model by using nutroscopic fuzzy relation mapping, or you can use other methods also by using the same data. You can interpret in a different model. You can interpret the result, whether the result maybe it leads to be good or same. Sometimes you can conclude that your method is better than other method. That also possible by using a statistical process. These are the two methods: primary data and secondary data. Primary data. We collect primary data during the course of doing experiment. It's an experimental research. But in case we do research of descriptive type and perform surveys, whether sample surveys or census survey, then we can obtain primary data either through observation or through direct communication with the response in one form or other, or through personal interview. So this is the way to collect the primary data. Direct communication with the response. Another through personal interviews. This is other words means that several methods of collecting primary data, particularly in survey and descriptive researches. Important ones are observation method, interview method, through questionnaire, through schedules, through methods which include mechanical devices, through projective techniques, depth interviews, and content analysis. So these are the important ones you are going to use to collect that primary data. We can go for interview method, you can go through questionnaire method, we can go through schedules, we can go through an experimental method called mechanical device, through projective techniques, depth interviews, and content analysis. This is the way to collect the primary data. Collection of secondary data. Secondary data means that are already available, that is, it refers to data which already be collected, analyzed by someone else. When the researcher utilizes secondary data, that he has to look into various sources from where it can be obtained them. So you have to check how they collected the secondary data. That one you have to see whether they collected the data from other secondary data or they collected data through primary data. We have to check it out. In this case, he is certainly not confronted with a problem that are usually associated with the collection of original data. Secondary data may be either be published data or unpublished data. Secondary data may be some data are published and some data are not published. So this is a way of collecting the secondary data. What is an hypothesis? You have to know what is an hypothesis, because hypothesis is a major attitude by scaling our research, and we are going to use a statistical tool and we are going to analyze it and we are going to conclude our conclusion. So what is an hypothesis? In this example, we start with the superficial NHR assumption in one case, ox racing. You waited for the event to take place. In other two instances, you designed a study to assess the validity of assumption, and only after careful investigation did you arrive at a conclusion about the validity of your assumptions. Hypotheses are based upon similar logic. As a researcher, you do not know about a phenomenon and situation, the prevalence of a condition in a population, or about the outcome of a program, but you do not have a hunch to form the basic of certain assumptions or guesses. You test this mostly one by one by collecting information that will enable you to conclude in your hunch as was right. The verification process can have one of the three outcomes. Your hunch may prove to be right, partially right, or wrong. So the verification will be in three cases. The first one is maybe right, partially right, or wrong. Without this process of verification, we cannot conclude anything about the validity of your assumption. When you are assuming a certain thing, when you are assuming, when you derive a when you arrive at a conclusion about the validity of your assumption, so it goes in three ways. It may be right, maybe partially right, or wrong. So it will go without this process of verification. We cannot validate your assumption. So this is called hypothesis. There are two tests, t-test and z-test. Z-test is the best when standard deviation are no. We know the standard deviation means z-test is very useful. T-test is best when the standard deviation are not known. If you don't know the standard deviation, we can t-test, we can be able to use it. Z-test follows a normal distribution. T-test follows a student tree distribution. Z-test is appropriate when the sample size is moderate to large. So it is moderate to large, we can use a Z-test. The test is appropriate, T-test is appropriate when the sample size is small. If it is small, we can use a T-test. If it is large, you can use a Z-test. This statistical test is useful for writing our conclusion, the interpretation, analyzing, and conclusion. So this is the statistical tool. The average test score of entire school is 75. The standard deviation of random sample of 9 total is 10. What is the probability that the average test score for sample is above 80? This is, you can use the t-test. The average test score entire school is 75. Standard deviation is 10. What is the probability that a random sample of 40 students scored above 80? So these are two questions given us here. One is for is a t-test, another one is for is a test. So formulas we can use for t-test, z-test and chi-square test. T is test. T equal to x bar by mu by s by root n, and z-test equal to z equal to x bar by mu by sigma by root n. Chi-square test is nothing but chi-square equal to summation number of observation 0 minus e the whole square by e. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Ah. So psi square test is nothing but chi square equal to summation 0 minus e the whole square by c. So these are the three important tests we are using for analysis purposes. Very important methods for analyzing our data. Analyzing our data. What is that? What is called O? What is called E? So condition will be there for chi-square test. There are some conditions will be there for chi-square test. The experimental data or sample observation must be independent of each other. The sample size should be reasonable large. Reasonable large, it must be greater than or equal to 50. The theoretical cell frequency should be at least 5. If it is less than 5, it is combined with adjoint frequency so that to be fold frequency is greater than 5. So the constants on the cell frequency should be linear. It must be linear. That is a condition to apply of chi-square test. So chi-square test, there are some properties or there for some for the chi-square test. Chi-square test, the uses of chi-square test. What is the uses of chi-square test? It is used to test the goodness of faith. It is used to test the independence of attributes. It is used to test the hypothetical value of the population variance. It is used for test the hypothetical value of the population variance. So these are some properties of chi-square test. So the important thing is the difference of between observed and expected frequency are not significant here. So chi-square test is one of the another important tool for use for validating purposes. So there are so many formulas are there by statistical purpose, but some only a few thing I am giving to you. You can utilize these tests, the test, and chi-square test. These all the tests were used for analytical purposes to to finalize our outcome. So there are so many tests are available. Just for example, I'm giving this test, the t-test, is a test, and chi-square test. So there are some methods are available. There are some method standard error of sampling distribution of statistics called standard error of t. There are some standard errors are there. So sampling distribution is there. So standard errors, we can find out the standard errors. The sampling distribution of mean x is called standard error of x. So this is the some tools for hypothesis testing. So next is oral presentation. Oral presentation is effective when supplemented by various visual devices. So use of slides, wall charts, background, is quite helpful in contributing to clarity. So after doing all our research areas, after the conclusion, so when you are presenting your work to the board members, so oral presentation is effective. That is the presentation you have to present your work. What are the things you have to use? You have to use slides, wall charts, blackboards is quite helpful in contributing to clarity. So you have to use slides, you have to use wall charts, you have to use blackboards, and it is used to for your contributing clarity. You can able to clearly explain your findings. Distributing a board outline with a few important tables and charts concerning the research results. May the listener attentive you have already outlined on which to focus the thinking. So, so chart, you can use a chart concerning the research results, making the listener attentive you have already outlined which to focus the thinking. So we can make them to listen you very clear when you are presenting your oral presentation. If you use this kind of methods, it is very helpful for those who make the listener to attend to you, who have already outlined and wish to focus the thinking. So this is oral presentation. Next, significance of report writing. Finally, we are going to write the report. So, research report is considered a major component of the research study for the research task. Remains incomplete till the report has been presented or written. So, first, finally, we are writing the report for your study. Research report consider major component. This is a major component. If a research task remains incomplete till the report is not presented or written. So your research after the research, you have to be reported by writing it. Writing of report is the last step in a research study and require a set of skills somewhat different those called for respect of earlier stages of research. This is the significance of a report writing. So I started with this. Again, I will show what I given here. So this is the one I given a graphical demonstration. First, research problem, literature review, hypothesis, research design, collection of data, analysis of data, interpretation, and report finding. So this is the thing I explain each and every point. Finally, interpretation, report finding. So finally, we are moving to the last section, the report finding. So this is the last section. Significance of report finding. So after that, we can complete our entire research work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Participants, if you have any queries, you can ask.
If there is any questions, please ask.
So can we wind up the session?
Okay, ma'am. Before I wind up, I want to give some inputs. Nowadays, I think all of you from mathematical background, right? I think so. Most of the faculties are here joined in this workshop as you are a mathematician. You see, There are so many works are available in fuzzy and nutroscopic, fuzzy graph and nutroscopic graph. So if you are planning to do your research in future, in your coming years, try to focus these areas. There are a lot of work research gap is available, especially in nutroscopic graph theory and in nutroscopic congruity maps and fuzzy related subjects. So I wish everybody to do your research soon as possible, because in future research is a very important thing in your career. So all the best to all the participants. Try to do your research area and try to find out your research area as soon as possible. If you are willing to do in fuzzy and nutroscopic related area, you can contact me. I'm working in Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science. You can contact me through our college representative. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for giving an opportunity for me to share my research ideas to the students, to the teachers, and faculties. I thank you very much for the management and the organizers and everyone of from SATHAK Mohammed College of Engineering. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Just a few words to express our good thanks. On behalf of management, principal, and faculty members, I thank Dr. Rajkumar, Associate Professor, for clearly elaborating on research method. Also, the step-by-step procedure to proceed with research. Thank you once again, sir, for your presentation, which we understand has provided all the details on how a research could be done. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I also thank all the participants for joining us today. I request all the participants to fill the feedback form. We look forward to your enthusiastic participation on the final day of FDP, that is tomorrow. Thank you.
Please unmute your video for the photo session. Please unmute your video for the photo session. Thank you. Please fill the feedback form which is available in the chat box.